All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. You found us here at KGB Customs, home of what we believe is some of the best custom gun content on the web. We share these custom guns in hopes of sharing some knowledge and to catalog some of the great pieces that come through our shop. Thanks for joining us. If you guys aren't already, we would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. And if you like the things we present here, jump down to the link in the description and sign up for our email list. We won't spam you, and we don't sell your information. We just share new arrivals and any news here at the shop. Today, we've got a really exciting piece here. Exciting to me, anyway. I love this stuff. This is a full house custom by Richard Heinie. This pistol has been through a couple iterations in its life, but the final iteration is probably the best. Of course, that's me saying that without knowing what the previous ones were. But I have a pretty good idea based on some paperwork that came with the gun. What we have here is a full profile compensated Colt 45 auto. This gun is almost a dead ringer for the Miami Vice Heinie Custom that recently went to auction and brought a whole bunch of money. This piece here differs slightly. One, it's built on a 70 series gun, not a stainless gun like the Miami Vice gun. And this one is two-tone. The other one was just natural stainless. It might have been hard chrome, but the base gun was a stainless steel Colt 80 series government model. This piece has a slightly shorter compensator than that pistol. That's me looking at pictures. I could be wrong there, but I do think this compensator is maybe a 1/4 inch shorter than the one in the show. And the rear of the slide on this pistol is checkered. The rear of the slide on the Hollywood pistol, the Miami Vice pistol, is just serrated. And they had different hammers in them. This one being a modified Colt Commander hammer, and the one in the Vice pistol being an aftermarket piece. And that was likely just due to when they were built. This pistol is Richard Heinie number 24, which is a very early gun. This gun, according to the paperwork from Heinie here, this pistol was finished in April of 79. Now you look at this gun and you say, wow, he's really ahead of the curve building a compensated 1911 and 79. Well, yes and no. He did not build this gun as a compensated pistol in 79. The work order from 79 says accurized Barstow barrel. So that includes tightening the frame and slide, etc., and fitting a match barrel. Bomar sights, melt. So rear Bomar sight, melt, softened for comfort. Open ejection port, which is a lower and flare job. Serrate rear of slide. Commander hammer, large hole. Spring guide. So I assume it had a full-length guy rod in it. Commander hammer, large hole. So that's a Commander hammer. He opens the hole up. Checkered flat mainspring housing. Check. We still have that. Checkered front strap. Check. Checkered. This is checkered in the Heinie fashion with a filed border all the way around it. Very nice, tidy work there. Square and checkered trigger guard. Check. And again, done in the Heinie fashion. Probably not quite as big a field as Hogue, and looks to be checkered the same LPI as the front strap versus a finer checkering that Hogue would have used on the front of the guard. Let's see here. Long aluminum trigger, beveled magwell, blue slide armalloy frame, so it was originally a two-tone. Combat safety, finished 4 of 79. Okay, so combat safety at that time probably meant a King's unit. May have been a single-sided Swenson. I'm not sure if Swenson made single-sided safeties in the late 70s yet, but probably was a King's unit because I believe they called theirs a combat safety. And that's what he has it listed at on the paperwork. And then below that, we have 8 of 79, 4 months later, ambidextrous safety. So that's when we gained the Swenson ambidextrous safety that we see in this gun today. Now, I should point out this base gun is a 1978 frame. We have a 50s or 60s Colt National Match hard slide here, slant groove, AMU slide. So this slide just has a roll mark on the right-hand side that says Colt Patent Firearms Manufacturing Company, Hartford, Connecticut. And then there is no roll mark on the left-hand side. That slide likely had a national match item number on that side, and Heinie wiped it off, which was common practice for guys who took these hard slides and built guns out of them. So, where'd the original slide go? We don't know. But the original slide was replaced here in, I believe, in late 79, early 80. We have national match slide fitted, check. Bomar melt, check. Deluxe installation. So that what we have there is the pocketed cut in the rear, much like Hogue did. Checker rear of slide, 40 lines. So we have the rear of a slide checkered 40 lines an inch. And then it lists a modified ramp front and blued finished 4 of 1980. So a year after the original build was done, it was fitted with a new slide. Why was that? It's hard to say. The guy could have squibbed one and cracked a barrel. There's a million reasons that you might have to replace a slide in that short order. Most of them revolve around user error or a change of purpose. But it sounds like the sights were roughly the same. Finish was roughly the same. The only thing that would have changed is, we went to a slant groove slide. We checkered the rear of the slide instead of serrating it. My guess is, and it is just a guess, is that the gun was damaged by the user in its original form and then rebuilt by Mr. Heinie. Then the paperwork trail goes dead. The paperwork doesn't list the compensator, but this pistol was released from Richard's collection not all that long ago and is a Richard Heinie compensator. The other clue there is the barrel is not dated, or at least the date has been cleaned off of it. I see a lot of pistols built that were definitely built in the 70s and 80s that have bar stows that you can't read a date on. And the dates were electro-penciled in, so a lot of times they got polished off. Not always something you can rely on. This one, I can't read a date on it. My suspicion is in the early 80s when this pistol was built, Richard Heinie wasn't building any compensated guns. And then as the 80s rolled on, in 1983, 82, 83, we start reading about compensated pistols in Handgunner. We start seeing ads for King's barrels that have, the slots cut in them for compensation, and start reading about guys who are custom making compensators and threading them onto 6-inch barrels, etc. We see then in the March-April 86 edition, right on the cover, there's Richard Heinie's comp gun debut, right? I'm sure it was not the first comp gun he built, but it was the one that got him the most attention. On the cover was the pistol that would eventually be in Miami Vice. And he got a lot of press for that appearance in the show and the appearance on the cover of Handgunner, is that stainless compensated build. So likely mid to late 80s, this pistol again returned to Heinie. Perhaps it was traded in by the client at the time because Heinie came back into ownership of it at some point. And the slide was shortened by 1/2 inch, and this full profile compensator and bull barrel, Barstow barrel was fit. And the gun's really quite beautiful, a pretty high condition, so it didn't compete very hard after the compensator install, and still pretty tight and smooth and right as rain. Really a handsome build, and one, in my opinion, that looks better even than the gun he sent to Hollywood for the show. So we talk about the show a lot, and the Heinie pistol showed up in season 3 of the show, right towards the beginning of episode 1. And the quote that I hear quoted quite a bit about about the show and about the Heinie gun in the show is, I'll read it to you here. It goes, "That's a beautiful gun. Heinie 45, custom built, combat auto, compensated long slide, extremely powerful, perfectly balanced." And we'll throw a picture in there of the gentleman saying that line with the gun in his hand. And it's just a really cool slice of Americana. It's a really cool slice of history and custom guns. Nowadays, most of the guns we see in Hollywood are, they're mishandled, mislabeled, uh, mis-soundbited. You'll hear hammer cocking noises when they're clearly carrying a Glock and stuff like that. And the gun handling is just so poor compared to what it was in the 80s and 90s, when some of these cop shows, we'll call them, we're really getting gun experts and professional shooters on staff to teach gun handling and to show, I guess, combat shooting in a good light, and how it should be done. And they showed interesting guns. There was just lots of interesting guns in those shows. There's a whole laundry list of cool guns from Miami Vice, especially, as well as some other cop shows of the period. So in that quote, he calls it a long slide. The gun is not a long slide, but if you look for 10 feet away and couldn't see the seam of the compensator, yeah, it looks like a long slide, because the compensator is a full profile unit, so it does look like the slide is long on the gun. But the slide is actually about a half inch shorter than stock. So that's the history in this gun. A little bit about Heinie, a little bit about Miami Vice, and this pistol is just really cool. And of course, we'll go down it here from the top. We've got a flat and insulated slide top. We've got a Patridge front sight mounted atop the 2-port compensator. It's a full port compensator, has a large expansion chamber machined inside of it. The neat thing about the Heinie compensator is there's no hole for the guide rod, which I think is pretty trick. It just looks clean. On the one carry comp that I built, it did have a hole in the front, and that's, I guess, one thing. If I could go back and do it again, I would try for something cleaner looking like that. Of course, a Barstow barrel. By my reading, this gun could easily be on its third Barstow barrel, depending on if it was replaced when the slide was replaced. It's not really clear here. Melted Bomar in the rear with a deluxe install. We've got softened Swenson ambi safety, which gives them a great feel. Checkered rear of the slide, real fine checkering. The trigger guard, of course, we've talked about that already. Forged out square, the front checkered. We've got an extended mag catch. You'll note, if you're into the Miami Vice guns, the parts choices are the same. We've got a Hogue beaver tail grip safety. We've got a checkered flat mainspring housing, checkered front strap, Cocobolo, rosewood, whatever he called them, grips. And this one, of course, like I said, finished in blued over hard chrome. The gun is a striking presence, and one I'm pretty honored to get to do a video on and show to all you guys. Again, I'll just go over it one more time. We thank you for being here. We know a lot of you are not subscribed to the channel. That's fine. You're welcome to fly in and out as you see fit. But if you really do appreciate the content, subscribe, or just leave a comment, or just thumbs up the video. We appreciate you being here. If you really like this stuff we show off, jump on our email list, and you can see it first there. It takes time to record and edit these videos, and often those emails go out days or even weeks before the video comes here to YouTube. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for watching.